Okay, so before I even say anything, this is not a build guide or anything, so don't follow this thinking that it is. It's literally just my experience and how much fun I've been having this league. So would I recommend you play my version of the build? No. I just want to showcase some of the cool tech I learned while putting this together. Anyways, here's how I got here in the first place. First of all, I play minion builds, I'm sure you can tell. Last league, I went 40-40 challenges on a Necromancer with Forge Frost Bears. That was cool. This league, I got 38 out of 40 challenges done on a Pathfinder with Defilers, using a Doryani's Merc like everyone else in the league. But after that, I got kind of bored and I decided I'll just start fresh in SSF and make a Necromancer whose build is just based on vibes. Long story short, I went through the entire game as a Zoomancer and then I ran into a Covenant and I was like, oh my god. So I instantly re-rolled to Poison SRS. And that carried me to 2 Void Stones, but I was so squishy. But I dropped the Ephemeral Edge, and then Captain Lance dropped that crazy 50k energy shield animate weapon of self-reflection build. And I was like, wait, I have to try this out. This is so sick. So let me show you what I put together. In its current state, the DPS of this build is not that good. But it's an Ephemeral Edge minion build, so you already know what's going on. The damage comes from scaling minion levels, minion damage, and energy shield, and then a bunch of other auras and stuff. It's pretty simple. Alright, so if you're just here for the max hits, here they are. But this build, even on a nothing budget, has so many layers of defense that it's actually crazy, and I just want to kind of speed through all of them. So first off, I don't get hit much in the first place because my minions taunt enemies. I'm also chaos inoculated. I've got like 11,000 energy shield. I've got like 900 e-shield regen per second. I have all flask and they give me 80 all max res. I'm elemental ailment immune from purity of elements. I have pretty high attack and spell block from Bone Offering. Bone Barrier gives me 10% physical damage reduction and energy shield leech from my minions. I get 20% less damage taken from enemies next to me with Flesh and Stone. I get endurance charges and Fist of Fire convert from my Mercenary. I have Consecrated Ground from my Animated Guardian. And I get 30% of melee damage taken from my Stone Golem with Safeguarding instead of me. All that to say, yeah, it is kind of hard to die in this character. Moving on to the gear section, originally I was going to try and showcase these images of the different gear that I'm using on just a blank background like before, but then I actually couldn't figure out a way to showcase them in a way that made any sense. You know what I mean? So if anyone knows how to kind of have screenshots of this gear without the annoying kind of semi-transparent background, please let me know. But anyways, I just wanted to go through the gearing on my character. All of this is stupid cheap. I don't think I own a single item that's worth above like 1 divine. And yeah, so let me just start with the Ephemeral Edge. Obviously, it's the thing that makes the build, you know? I've got precision and just my movement skills slotted into it. I've got this helmet, which was just, I think I dropped this off the ground and I just crafted energy shield onto it. It was pretty nice. And then this is just housing on my auras. I've got Skitter Bots, Discipline, Flesh and Stone, and Tempest Shield. I've got this just regular energy shield that just has intelligence and energy shield. Some other alternatives for trade would probably be, I think a Bitterbind point would be really nice budget, especially if you can get +1 Spectre, because then you could run more support Spectres. Or you could literally just run any minion shield and sacrifice a little bit of ES for more damage. Like, that'd be pretty solid. I've got Whispers of Infinity, Amulet of the League. Everyone knows this thing. Actually kind of does double duty here, even triple duty, honestly, because along with giving a stupid amount of E-shield, it allows me to run the Covenant. And you may ask, why am I running the Covenant? It's because I haven't found anything better than this Covenant. And I'm really annoyed by it because it's kind of dumb in this build. I do have this over here that I'm like crafting up, right? Because it has memory strands on it and it's got this this tailoring orb mod on it because I was trying to find one that had 6 sockets linked because I hate 6 linking stuff and I cannot find one for the life of me. So this could be something cool. I'd probably have to roll it with some more dense fossils and get like T1, T2 E-shield so I can try and upgrade it with an Unraveling Orb. So that's the project right now. But some of our options, I think this Mortis would actually be okay. Like, if you manage to 6-link it in trade, I think it'd be pretty solid. But yeah, there's not really a point to this besides the fact that it's the best damage and E-shield that I have like currently. But definitely the correct choice is just to use a nicely rolled Twilight Regalia. It also has Assassin's Mark in it because I haven't found a place to fit it else in the build. That'll be like the next thing. But anyways, gem links. Okay, so I'm running Desecrate and Bone Offering linked to Cast When Stunned in my shield. This is a weird take. People don't really do this, but I'm doing it because I'm not actually running any sort of stun immunity. I have the Pantheon, right? And I've got the cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or blocked a stunning hit in the past 2 seconds. So I'm stun immune for 2 seconds at a time, basically. But because my maximum life is 1 and I don't have any, cool Vile Bastion stuff from Occultist, I'm getting stunned essentially on every hit. Which is not a bad thing because then I can auto-cast this. Because the other options are you run Arcanist Brand, which is annoying because it has to actually attach to an enemy and the enemy has to not die for like 0.2 seconds for it to cast. Or you have to self-cast it, which I'm too lazy to do, so I don't do that. Okay, sorry. Interjecting in the middle of my own talking, I realized I didn't actually talk about my skill gem links on my main damaging skill. So here's Animate Weapon of Self-Reflection. Obviously, you want as many levels on this as you can. You would only get that through the helmet, really. And then if you're crazy and rich, you would get like one of those insane amulets with like +4 level to all gems and like 5 bajillion energy shield, but I don't have that. And then I have minion damage. I have fresh meat support, which is really nice because these guys last for a while. Minions last for 32.10 seconds. So you get Wakened Fury and Adrenaline for 10% duration. So they're getting a ton of crit chance and crit multi for around 3 seconds. And also all the Adrenaline buffs, which I'll put on screen, which is like 100% increased damage and then like 20% increased movement speed or something like that. It's kind of crazy. So I think fresh meat support's really good here. Multi-strike and then volatility. The last link for me would definitely be Lightning Pen, but if you're running this with a Doriani's in trade, because you're definitely running this with a Doriani's in trade, you would put in elemental damage support or something of that nature. Even Ruthless works. Moving on, I've got these gloves. These are just normal gloves. There's nothing special about them. I think I just I defense rolled these in the Harvest bench for a while and then got this. This is running my Animate Guardian, who has his own setup that I'll link in the POB in the description. But essentially, it's literally just like a Leer cast and Xanthus Cassock. Nothing else in there is like that important. And also my Spectres, which I'll get more into the Spectres in the next section, but they are really cool and I like talking about them. And my Stone Golem of Safeguarding that I talked about before. They're all linked to Elemental Army for lightning exposure, because I haven't found another place to put that. But realistically, in trade, you would put like Meat Shield or something so these guys don't die. And then I was my Stone Golem over here, which, Omega buff Stone Golem. They're awesome now. Linked to Feeding Frenzy, and then Guardian's Blessing level 1 specifically. So it doesn't lose that much HP per second, and I could put Purity of Elements in here for free, which just gives me Elemental Ailment immunity on everyone, which is just so convenient. Now, if you can solve Elemental Ailment immunity for yourself, you could replace this with like anything else. I think there's like a lot of good options. But I haven't, because I've only been playing this character for a few days. Anyways, these rings are like not that important. I mean, this one I was like flabbergasted because I got T1 max roll on attack and cast speed and damage. So that was sick. All the other things in this ring are like fake, like not real mods. Except the dexterity's nice, I guess. And then I have this other one, which is like the same thing. It just has like some int on it and E-shield, which is what you'd want on both rings, to be honest. And then I'm running the Arcan's tools. This is a really strange choice, and you probably shouldn't run this, but it's helpful for me specifically because it gives me dexterity along with guaranteed shock and scorch, which is something that you'd usually solve with your mercenary, but I don't have all that stuff yet because I haven't killed the Maven, because I don't want to do 60 million damage to a boss when I'm doing like somewhere around 800k DPS. I'll be there for a day. I'm also running because it's cool and new, and the auras affect you as well as enemies doesn't matter because I'm Purity of Elements. But realistically, you would put a Baited Breath here I actually just dropped Abated Breath, but like I can't take this out because it screws up my ephemeral edge. But I think that would be the next upgrade, but the ultimate upgrade would literally just be any sort of crystal belt that just has something nice on it, or like, you know, a mage blood, but I'm not rich. Anyways, places to go from here. I think obviously some sort of helmet with more minion levels on it would definitely be the play for running a minion build. I found this one, and it's pretty sick, but it's filled prefixes, so maybe I try and do the ultimate annul of all time and like get out that rarity of items so I can get more E-shield on this. But like this one is solid. It's not bad. I've also been doing the crafting recipe, where you just trade in minion gems with quality and just like make lich circlets with +1 level of all minion gems, and then eventually I'm hoping to recombinate this. But I'll have to find a better way to actually craft up +2 levels. But that would require probably like fossil crafting, and that's really annoying in SSF, so I haven't gotten to that yet. But yeah, that's essentially it. I don't think there's much more that I missed, but that's the setup. I actually realized I didn't talk about the Mercenary I'm running. So here's the Mercenary. Obviously the classic, I'm so glad I draw this thing, the Count's Binding. And then Victoria's Charity gives everyone endurance charges. There is an angle if I were in trade to do, you know, Gravebind explosion stuff, because you can actually get double explosions with a Mercenary by just doing like Gravebind here and then like explode chest here and like obliteration, which is pretty funny. But I mean, I think ultimately the goal would be to grind for a Garb of the Ephemeral for this. Like that would probably be the best thing I could think of. In SSF, of course. In trade, you're running this with a Doriani's Merc, like straight up. Like you're just getting like the 5-6 times damage from that. But I'm doing what I can in SSF right now. So yeah, this Merc isn't super impressive. The only thing I want to call out is that I'm a really big fan of Last Rites on the Merc Amulet, because like the 50% reduced life regeneration rate is really nice when you don't do a lot of damage. So yeah, that's it. So when first starting this build, I actually used the Host and Carnage Chieftains for power and frenzy charges, but I realized that they didn't really make a lot of sense in this build because I'm recasting the Animate weapons so much that they're really not holding on to those charges. So eventually I moved on and started using Ritual Spectres. So currently I'm running a Blasphemer, a Spirit of Fortune, and a Perfect Forest Warrior. Obviously, you'd want all these to be perfect, especially the Spirit of Fortune, because then you can run a different amulet on your Mercenary. But they're all extremely good for reasons that you can see on screen, but specifically the Blasphemer is one I want to highlight, because I didn't realize how good he was until I actually did some research and found out that a level 20 Raised Spectre gem of him is using like a level 25 smite and giving all that extra damage to your minions. And if you get the Spectre gem itself to level 25, it's using a max level 40 smite and buffing all of your minions with it, which is crazy. So really recommend these guys. There are some other options I do want to point out. Perfect Warlord fixes endurance charges for you and allies and also gives vitality, but he's really loud. And Hulking Miscreation, I think works. I'm not entirely sure, but Animate weapons and Animate weapons of ranged arms are both tagged as constructs, so they get this huge buff, but there is no tag for Animate weapons of self-reflection, at least on PoE DB. So I have no idea if this interaction works, but I really hope it does, because it'd be really cool. But haven't tested it myself. I haven't found this guy in SSF, but just putting it out there. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on about a build that I've been trying out in SSF. I had a lot of fun putting together this build and just kind of messing around with it in SSF. I feel like I learned a lot about the game because I haven't actually played that long. But anyways, yeah, this is my first video on the channel. I kind of made this channel just so I could practice talking into a microphone and experiment editing videos. I've never edited a video before, but if you have any critiques about the video or the build, please let me know. All right, you have a good one.